Hey, how's it going, everybody? Tall Tesla guy here. Today we're going to be talking about unexpected costs of owning a Tesla, but probably more importantly, owning an EV. These are some of the things that you don't consider, you don't think about when you switch from a traditional internal combustion engine vehicle or traditional gas or diesel vehicle and you switch over to an EV. The first thing you think of is, I'm not spending any more money, no maintenance, none of these costs, none of these expenses. I'm gonna be saving thousands of millions of dollars a year. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a couple of things that I didn't think about when I first got it and things that I'm realizing now. Now, it's not changing my opinion on it mostly, but I do want to dive into that today and talk about it, kind of show you what I'm looking at. So sit back, relax. You guys are watching the Tall Tesla Guy. So this is specifically Tesla's, and specifically Tesla Model Ys, okay? So I know there's other EVs out there, and I know there's other EV experiences and other EV manufacturers and things like that. However, you guys know that I have a Tesla Model Y. I bought my Tesla Model Y back in 2020. I bought it again back in 2022, and I have loved it ever since. But I've got 4 years of information on it. I got 4 years of data to kind of dive into it so that I can kind of compare it to what it was costing, what I was spending when I had a traditional gas vehicle. And that's what we're going to be kind of breaking down today so that I can bring up some of these surprise things, maybe, or I can bring up some of these, kind of a list of stuff that I wasn't really planning on spending or paying for when I had the vehicle. And then some of the things that I'm surprised that I don't have to or happy that I don't have to. And the first thing that I'm going to talk about is the cost to charge. Now, the cost to charge does vary, specifically where you're located. I know I've lived in 3 or 4 different places with my car, and I can say that the cost per kilowatt hour that I pay at my home to charge the vehicle varies anywhere from 13 cents to what I'm paying now, which is closer to 29 cents per kilowatt hour. So that aside, I can say as an average, now based on the number of miles that I drive, where I charge it, when I charge it, I'm paying about an extra $30 a month, maybe $40 a month, here probably closer to $50 a month in electricity usage or electricity fee or charge because I am charging my Tesla at home. I charge it predominantly at home, except for when I'm on road trips. When I'm on road trips, I go to the superchargers and I'm paying for it there. Now, at the superchargers, I was paying, when I was going there a lot, I was paying closer to $100 a month for it. Now, I was driving a lot. Now, I wasn't charging it at home then. I would just happen to be on the road all the time. I was paying close to $100 a month in the supercharger. Now, comparatively, before when I had a gasoline vehicle, and I had a gasoline vehicle that had really good gas mileage, and I've had ones that do not have good gas mileage. However, the one that I drove on my day-to-day did. Gave me about 35 miles per gallon, which was pretty good at the time. I got about 500 miles on a tank of gas. However, I was spending about, at the time, gas was a lot cheaper, about $30 a week. So about $120 a month. Now, comparatively, $120 versus $30, the Tesla is a lot cheaper, even up to $50. Now, even compared to supercharging, it's certainly a lot cheaper. So first off is the amount of money I save by not getting gas. This seems like an obvious thing to say or an obvious thing to talk about, but it's comparative and a lot of people wonder about it. Is it actually cheaper? Now, number 2 is going to be the insurance. Now, I have full coverage on my car and I've had full coverage on my gas vehicles as well. Now, I live in a state that doesn't have this extreme insurance shock that I've seen other people have. Some people have had their Tesla insurance bring their premiums up $200 or $300 a month. Now, I don't know about driving records or anything like that. Mine's pretty clean. It brought mine up on my new vehicle from about $100 a month for another new vehicle that we had, equivalent, comparable in price to our Tesla, which is about $120 a month. So insurance is higher, but it's not a ton higher. It's not a huge amount higher. And I always kind of equated it to the vehicle, maybe cost to repair, stuff like that. And I'm not even going to dive into it. I haven't had any issues in it, knock on wood. But I know that the cost to repair a Tesla, the cost to replace a battery is pretty expensive. Cost to replace an engine is also expensive, but nonetheless, it's more expensive for a Tesla. So I kind of expected that. But an extra $20 a month versus what I was paying for my comparable gas vehicle insurance is nothing that jumps out at me as anything too crazy, unacceptable, or anything that I wasn't sort of okay with. So insurance is the second thing that I wanted to talk about. Number 3 is registration. Now, it's expensive in my state to register a gas vehicle as well. However, registering a EV here, I have to pay an EV tax. And an EV tax is basically a tax that's applied to EVs because I am not paying fuel tax by getting gasoline in the car to help repair the roads or give us more potholes or whatever it is. And so my share essentially is an EV tax. Now, I lived in a state before where my EV tax was an additional $500 every time I registered the car. That's what they determined was the amount of, I don't know, fuel, gasoline tax that they were missing out on because I had an EV versus a gas vehicle. It's not quite as high here, but it's still about $250, $300. So EV tax, when I register the vehicle, is something that's huge here. Now, I know other places they charge for EVs more. They, you get registration credits. It's almost free to register and stuff like that. I do not have that experience here, but I will say registration is higher because I do have to pay the EV tax, which is wonderful and fun to pay. Now, outside of that, I will say one of the main huge positives of the Tesla, other than not putting gas in it, is that it is basically maintenance free. So I was surprised in the beginning. I don't know what I thought I would have to do for it, maintenance wise, but there is basically no maintenance. You're putting in windshield washer fluid, changing the wiper blades if you're using them a lot. Other than that, you're just not doing anything. You're nothing at all. In fact, the brakes are said to last over 1 million miles because you have regen braking in the Tesla, and you're just not using the brake pads like you do with a gasoline vehicle, which is a huge thing. I don't have 1 million miles on it yet, and I'll let you guys know if it does make it that far. But nonetheless, I'm excited that I don't have to replace the brakes, and I was surprised to realize that my maintenance is really nothing. Now, I was only paying a couple $100s a year for maintenance in my gasoline vehicles, windshield wipers, washer fluid, oil changes, stuff like that, but I'll take the savings wherever I can get it. So maintenance fees are basically nothing. Now, when I say maintenance fees are nothing, I should probably put an asterisk on it because the other side, the other surprise thing, or the next surprise thing for the Tesla is the tires. The tires are expensive, as tires are, but you can spend $300-$400 for a single tire on the Tesla. Now, this isn't buying them from Tesla. This is buying them aftermarket from Big O Tires, Tire-Rama, Costco, wherever you get your tires. However, Teslas burn through tires fast. I used to be able to get about 60,000 miles on tires in my gasoline vehicle, and I'm lucky if I get 30. I have about 30,000 miles on there now, but my tires are in dire need of replacement. I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. So I will say that every couple of years, at least, depending on how much you drive, you're going to have to replace your tires, and they're going to be running about $1,200 each time. So I'm not excited about that. I was surprised to see how quickly they chewed through tires. They always talked about it, but I never saw it. I thought people were just racing in the car. I got more use out of the tires this time than I did with my first car. It was about 12,000 miles that I needed a replacement in my first Model Y. This one, I'm getting closer to 30,000 miles. So I'm either driving better, not racing as many people, or the tires are just better. I'm not sure, but either way, I'll take it. It's about 30,000 miles at most that you're going to get from tires in the Tesla. That was a huge surprise for me. It wasn't something that I realized. It wasn't something that I was thinking about, and it was one of those things that sort of surprised me. And then there's another charge with the Tesla too. It is, if you didn't know, Tesla is basically a technology company that produces a car. Well, with that, they charge you for it basically. So premium connectivity with a Tesla is basically like paying for navigation in a car. So it's not like it's free in a gas vehicle either. But I didn't think about it because it came with a year of free premium connectivity, and then once it's out, you're up to $10 a month, $9.99 a month. Which great, $9.99 a month on a vehicle like a Tesla Model Y, no problem. I'll pay it any day. I know what I get for it: the navigation, any of the autopilot stuff that you have, if you happen to have it. You get the streaming radio, the satellite radio, the connections, the automatic updates, all that kind of stuff. I will take it and I will pay it tenfold. However, I was surprised to see it. It was one of those things that I didn't think I necessarily needed. And that kind of leads you to a necessarily needed thing, which is the accessories. There's 1,000,001 accessories. I've talked about, I have countless videos on the site here, the channel. If you've seen them before, if you're following them, all these accessories you can get from the car, and they're fantastic. They really improve your ownership experience. I love them. I love what I get for the car. You can easily change and modify it. But what you realize is that even though it is fun to change and modify the car, Tesla basically gives you nothing. I mean, it's very minimalistic interior design. Everything is in the screen. The couple of cup holders, I guess you should be lucky that you got those. But outside of that, that's kind of it. I mean, I went from everywhere from putting in, cubby compartments, to putting in organization devices, charging ports, charging cables, USB devices, better floor mats, because all they give you is carbon floor mats, storage bin containers, compartments, roof shades, everything that you could possibly think of is one of those things that the car doesn't come with anything. So if you need to change anything or want to, you're going to need to do that right from the beginning. And it was a surprise, I guess. I was happy to do it, and it didn't realize until it occurred to me that I'm doing it because the car doesn't come with anything, which is what it is. But then the other side of that too is PPF and tint. Most vehicles do not come with full-on tint packages. In fact, some cars don't come with tint at all. So it's not surprised that I had to pay for tint on the car, but people put PPF on the car, the paint protection film, that clear film on the front of it, and they'll do that and ceramic coat the car because historically Tesla had really bad paint. You were lucky if you got delivered a vehicle that didn't have paint blemishes, that didn't need paint correction, chips of paint and stuff like that out of it from the beginning, let alone after you have the car for a while. Now, I will say that the paint process is so much better, 1,000 times better than it used to be. My first Model Y had all these problems. My second one didn't have hardly any. However, I still put PPF on it. It's so easy to chip them. It's so easy to get rocks. There's a big scoop in the front of the car that collects debris and snow and mud and dirt and rocks and everything like that anyway. It seems to be a magnet for rocks. So I was happy to get PPF on it. But it was one of those things that I didn't think about. I didn't think about as much with my previous vehicle. And because of that, it became one of those things that was a surprise for me. Let me know if there's anything that I forgot, anything you want me to dive into, or there's anything in there that you want me to elaborate on, or you had an opinion on. Throw it down in the comments below. Either way, I appreciate you guys tuning in, watching the videos, diving into this Tesla journey with me, and going down that road. So I really hope you guys are having a fantastic day, week, month so far, and that you're staying safe out there. Thanks for watching, everybody.